Hi everyone, and welcome to an overview of how to solve quadratic inequalities using algebra. So I've written out some steps here. You start out by finding the zeros. Then you take those zeros, put them on a number line, and you're going to use test values to see how your inequality needs to be written. And then finally, you're going to actually write that inequality. You can also write it in interval notation, but since most people are more familiar with inequalities, that's how I'm going to be doing it. So let's take a look at how to apply these steps. I have example A right here. X squared minus 4x plus 1 is greater than 6. So I'm going to start out by finding the zeros, which means I get everything to one side. So x squared minus 4x, and I'm going to subtract the 6 to get negative 5. And now to find the zeros, you can use any method to find those zeros. You can use factoring, you can use completing the square, you can use the quadratic formula. This one's relatively easy to factor, so I'm going to use factoring on it. So I'm looking for two numbers that multiply to negative 5 and add to negative 4. That's negative 5 and positive 1. Because negative 5 times 1 is negative 5, negative 5 plus 1 is positive 4. And now I need the zeros for each part of this. So most people can just look at this and say it's positive 5 and negative 1. If that's not easy for you, that's okay. You take each of these parts, make it equal to 0, and then solve for x. So you would just add 5. So that's positive 5. In this case, you would have x plus 1 equals 0, and x is negative 1. So those are your two zeros. So that's step 1 right here. Now for step 2, I need to make a number line. So I'm going to go ahead and put these on a number line, and I want to be careful to make sure they're actually in the right order. Remember, the smallest one on the left, biggest one on the right. And now I'll pick test values. Now, these are not the values that go into your final answer. Your final answer is going to have that negative 1 and positive 5 on it. So let me just get a different color here. Okay, a number less than negative 1, I can do negative 2. A number between negative 1 and 5, well, 0 is in between there, and I always pick 0 if at all possible, because guess what? It's easiest. And then a number more than 5, I can do 6. And now all I'm going to do is I'm going to put those in to my original inequality and see if it actually makes it true. So for negative 2, if I put that in, I'm going to have negative 2 squared, which is 4, minus 4 times negative 2, which is negative 8, so 4 plus 8, and plus 1. And I have to check to see, is it greater than 6? So that's the big question. Is it greater than 6? Yes, it is. Because this adds to 13, and 13 is greater than 6. So this side does work. Now I'll put in 0. If I put in 0, I get 0 minus 0 plus 1. And I need to know, is it greater than 6? The answer is no, it's not. So this part does not work in the middle. And if I put in 6, I get 6 squared, which is 36, minus 6 times 4, which is 24, and plus 1. And I have to check to see if that's greater than 6. And it is. This comes out to 13, and 13 is greater than 6. So this one worked as well. So my inequality needs to say that I need all the numbers that are less than negative 1 and all the numbers that are greater than 5. Remember, we're using these numbers at the bottom. So x is less than negative 1 or x is greater than 5. So let me show you another example. In this example, I'm going to use the quadratic formula. Now, it is an example that can be factored, and you could factor it. I'm just going to create a little bit more room here. Okay, so for letter B here, it says x squared minus 6x plus 10 is less than 2. Sorry, less than or equal to 2. Step 1 is finding the zeros. So I have x squared minus 6x plus 8. I just subtracted the 2 to make it equal to 0. And you need to have a 0 here so you can find the zeros. Now I'll use the quadratic formula for this. So using the quadratic formula, I need to find a, b, and c now. So a is the coefficient of the x squared, b is the coefficient of the plane x, and c is the plane number. I'm going to put them into the quadratic formula. Now, this can be factored very easily as well, but I want to show you quadratic formula. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. And I'm just going to put in the numbers I have. So negative b, I change the sign on the negative 6 to get positive 6, plus or minus the square root of b squared. Negative 6 squared is 36, minus 4 times a times c, all over 2a. 2 times 1 is 2. Okay, and now calculating this, you get 36 minus 32, which is 4. Now, I can do the square root of 4. Square root of 4 is 2. And I can calculate this. 6 plus 2 is 8, and 8 divided by 2 is 4. 6 minus 2 is 4, and 4 divided by 2 is 2. So those are my zeros. Now I'm going to do test points again. So on my number line, I'm going to put on 2 and 4. And again, I need to pick values around those. So values that are less than 2, I'm going to go with 0 again because, like I said, it's easier to calculate with. In between 2 and 4 is 3. And more than 4 is 5. Now, if this had been like 2 and 3, you could do like 2.5. So you can use fractions here. I just try to pick the easiest numbers to calculate with. So I'm going to evaluate my original expression, this first one, for 0, 3, and 5. So if x is 0, I get 0 squared minus 6 times 0 plus 10 is less than or equal to 2. Now, it is not less than or equal to 2. 10 is not less than or equal to 2, so this does not work. I'm going to cross this out as not good. Next, I'll do 3. So if I put 3 in, I get 3 squared, which is 9, minus 6 times 3, and plus 10. And I need to check to see if that's less than or equal to 2. It is. This comes out to negative 9 plus 10, which is 1. And that is less than 2, so that works. Yay. And then if I put in 5, 5 squared is 25, minus 6 times 5 is 30, and plus 10. And I have to check to see if that's less than or equal to 2. This combines to get 5. 5 is not less than or equal to 2, so this one does not work. So I need to say the numbers between 2 and 4. Now notice this had an or equal to symbol. So when I write it, I can put the or equal to symbol here. So x is between 2 and 4, and that's my answer there. So I hope that was helpful. I showed you 2 different ways to find the zeros, and then the process for determining how to write your inequality.